It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live across the globe on citynewsroom.com, City 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. My name is Ino Safo, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Owuzukumi.
Coming up, Court of Appeal overturns earlier High Court's decision to start Opuni trial from scratch.
The true position of the law is that it is actually up to the trial judge to make that determination, and the trial judge makes that determination based on factors that it considers necessary.
Also coming up, chiefs and people of Nyankrom, Abuesi, and Shama in the Western region demonstrate over the poor nature of roads in their communities.
Pregnant women get miscarriages. Why? Are you also reducing our number? You don't want us to go. Then when it's election time, you want numbers.
Still ahead in the bulletin, the New Patriotic Party begins vetting of presidential aspirants seeking to lead the party into the 2024 general elections. One of the aspirants, Alan Kojo-Chermating, is hopeful of getting the nod and starting his tour soon.
A good interaction with the committee. As you're all aware, I've been through this exercise on several other occasions, so I'm quite familiar and comfortable with this process. I think the important thing for you is to know that tomorrow I will start my constituency tours in Greater Accra.
And later, Nanumba South District Security Council directs feuding factions in the Lugni chieftaincy dispute to cease fire after clashes left residents fleeing the area. The bulletin is live on our partner stations across the country. In the Western region, we're on Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade. In the Bno region, we're on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're live on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu. In the Northern region, we're live on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, we're on Tanga 93.7 FM in Bolga. In the Upper West, we're live on Tonsong 97.3 FM in Wa, Drapa 96.1 FM, also in the Upper West region.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for joining us. Let's settle for the details of our stories. We start from the courts, where the Court of Appeal has overturned a decision of the trial judge in the Opuni case to start the trial afresh. Justice Anochijima, who took over the case after the retirement of Justice Honyenuga, directed that proceedings and evidence led under his predecessor be discarded to restore confidence in the trial. The state objected to the decision of the judge and filed an appeal. My colleague Hansen Ajuman joins us over the phone lines with more on this particular story. Hansen, many thanks for joining us. Tell us the proceedings in court today.
At the last agenda, the Court of Appeal adjourned to today, July 3, 2023, only to deliver judgment on the matter. Mind you, prior to that adjournment, the defense and respondents in the matter, that is Dr. Stephen Opuni and the two others who are on trial, actually raised an application that for the determination of the appeal, all proceedings that took place at the High Court should be transmitted to the Court of Appeal, indicating that the Court of Appeal did not have all the relevant documents to make a decision. That application or motion in itself was quashed by the Court of Appeal and then set a date today for the delivering of the judgment. And so when the court starts today, it went directly into the delivering of the judgment after some preliminary issues were dispensed with. Now, the judges essentially read the conclusion part of their judgment and will make available the full judgment later. Now, this judgment is a unanimous one by the three-member panel that sat over this appeal. And the point essentially is that the judges were, or the court was convinced that the High Court judge misdirected himself when he took the decision to start the trial from scratch. And so, in essence, what the Court of Appeal has done is to say that the High Court erred when in taking that particular decision and has overturned that decision. And what this will mean is that the parties will go back to the High Court for proceedings to continue from where they left off. That is, the state essentially was done with calling its witnesses. And so the accused persons, in the person of Stephen Opini and the other two persons, will now be asked to also call their witnesses and make their case in this particular case that has been ongoing for some time now.
All right, Hansen, let's listen to the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboah Dame.
Indeed, the true position of the law is that it is actually up to the trial judge to make that determination. And the trial judge makes that determination based on factors that it considers necessary. And if the parties are aggrieved by the exercise of that discretion, the parties are entitled to lodge an appeal, which we did. And we felt that the matters that were relied upon by the trial judge were, with all respect to him, quite irrelevant, and therefore the proper thing to do, which is actually the most progressive step in the circumstances, was for the evidence to be adopted and for us to move on. And I think that it is actually a little bit backward, with all respect, for a trial which has advanced to this stage for another to be made, that we should start de novo. It will amount to giving the evidence twice. It will amount to giving any of the parties to the matter a second bite at the cherry. And I think that is improper. My respectful view is that where the proceedings are advanced, where the parties have led evidence, and indeed a normal suspense and inconvenience will be subjected to any of the parties by an order for the trial to start. The proper thing is for the evidence to be adopted. I mean, what is there to fear? If a party conducts its case very well, and we feel that, yes, the proceedings that have been, evidence that has been laid is sufficient to warrant either a conviction or acquittal, the proceedings ought to be adopted. I've already initiated a bill for amendment of various parts of the Criminal Procedure Act of Ghana. The bill has already gone to the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council has considered it and has actually okayed it. And it makes provisions for adoption of evidence in clear terms by a trial court. It makes provision for a reform of the jury system. It makes provision for a trial day-to-day, which is actually the norm. And it is only in this country where trial, especially in relation to financial offenses, takes so long to conclude.
My colleague Hansen Ajaman is still on the line. Hansen, the Attorney General has also been expressing concerns over comments made over the ongoing criminal trial of a Sin North Member of Parliament by the Domahine. What can you tell us about this?
Also, we questioned the Attorney General whether he's actually heard about these comments by the Domahine Osiadia Ajmabedu II. Now, the Domahine essentially made comments to the point that appealing to the president, if the president indeed has any form of hand in the ongoing trial against the Sin North Member of Parliament, to make sure that the Attorney General will use his powers provided for him. The Attorney General has the powers of nolli prosequi, where he can essentially discontinue a case at any point in time before judgment is delivered, and is not mandated by law to give explanations to anybody. And so the Domahine, who himself is a High Court judge, in that comment was only pleading with the Attorney General to the President to make sure that the case is continued. It is his view that Ghana will not benefit in any way if a Member of Parliament elect for Asen North, Jim Jati Payson, who won his election last week, is prosecuted. He thinks there's nothing to gain here. And so it will rather be in the benefit of the state for the state to cease the prosecution of the matter. Now, aside the comments by the Domahine, we've had comments from a number of players or stakeholders within the legal fraternity who have made some calls, especially to the fact that the decision to hear the matter on daily basis should be rescinded. We know that James Jachikwe through his lawyers already have filed an appeal, and a stay of execution application will be heard tomorrow, pending that appeal, where it is seeking to rescind the decision to try the matter daily. Now, when we pose a question to Godfred Yabwadam on what he makes of these comments, he indicated that he would not readily make any comment because there's already engagements ongoing already for a statement to be released by his office in addressing some of these. But he briefly expressed concern about how some of these comments have the tendency of affecting the adjudication of the matter, and he thought that these comments were not right in that sense. But the official position of the Attorney General's office, as far as these issues are concerned, we'll get to know when Godfrey Yabwadame releases that statement.
All right, Hansen, stay on the line and let's listen to Domahene Osiadeyo Ajiman Bedu.
Without prejudice to the outcome of a court case pending before the High Court, Accra, as a matter of urgency, I'm appealing to the President of the Republic, if he has any role to play, that trial should be aborted. The Attorney General should, as a matter of urgency, file a nolle prosequi to end that particular decision. No, Samre engineer, Minhu Sabi. Mpaswobia e de be bragana said damfo no ye be kwa prosecute no na sa ode ne gina court a na bato amani MP adwuma na obere na kwakwa. It's on this day na me catch say Samre you are president, you know I love you, this matter cannot go on. Attorney General odame prayer de share bono de share hwa wo ngomam koko twa sem yifri ho.
I'm not going to comment on it right now. I'll come up with a proper statement on the matter. And it will be in respect of all comments generally which have the tendency to subvert the administration of justice. I think that is very unhealthy for our democratic dispensation, and therefore we must not countenance him. I'll come up with a formal statement on it.
You heard the Domahene Osiadeyo Ajiman Bedu there asking the Attorney General to stop the ongoing criminal trial of Asin North Member of Parliament-elect James Jachikwe, and also the Attorney General, who responded to that, saying that he will issue a statement to address all these concerns expressed over the potential impact of such comments on adjudication of such matters. My colleague Hansen Ajiman is still on the line because Hansen moved from the courts to the NPP headquarters where presidential hopefuls are being vetted today. Hansen, tell us about that. Who was the first? Tell us about the atmosphere at the headquarters.
Well, so this particular vetting is taking place at the Elections and Campaign Office of the NPP in Okomlemle. Now, unlike the picking of nomination forms and also the submission of these forms, where the supporters of the various hopefuls thronged to the party headquarters, it's quite a different atmosphere today here at the Elections and Campaign Office of the NPP. Just a handful of supporters of the various candidates are here, or hopefuls are here, as far as the vetting process is concerned. Now, the party has come out with a schedule. So 3 candidates, including Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alan Kojo-Mountain, former energy and former trade and industry minister, and energy expert Kojo Poku, businessman, expected to be vetted today. I must say that Alan Kojo-Mountain, he was the first person to face the committee. It took about some 2 hours for that vetting to go on. And followed by that is Kojo Poku, who entered the office where the vetting is ongoing some 30 minutes ago. The last person to be vetted today, according to the schedule, is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Already we've seen some security arrangements from the Executive House, some military officers, some police officers, as well as some plainclothes men with reflectors where they've written at the back of the reflector DMB security. And we know that Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is going by the initials DMB. And so essentially, these are security arrangements that are ongoing in preparations for Dr. Mahmoud Baumia to make an appearance at the election and campaign office here at Kokomlemle. However, he's yet to make an appearance. But what happens is that the media is not given the opportunity to go into the office where the vetting is ongoing, and so sometimes we only interact with them on their way to the to meet the committee or after the committee engagement. They are not really revealing much as far as the engagement with the committee is concerned. We spoke to Alan Chamantin, who came out after the engagement with the committee, and he makes the point that he cannot share what exactly happened, but he's excited and he is happy with how engagement went. He says he's been part of the process previously, and so this is not new to him, but he has revealed to us that after today, starting Tuesday, June 4, he's beginning his campaign tours of the Greater Accra region, moving to various constituencies. However, he's rather going to group the constituencies into various sectors and make sure that he meets executives and delegates from multiple constituencies at the same time. The move will not only, according to him, shorten the time period for which he's supposed to meet with these persons, but also is to make sure that in doing this, he brings together the executives of the various constituencies as a way of fostering unity and peace as part of his campaign process.
All right, let's listen to what Alan had to say after his vetting.
I've just had the opportunity of going through the vetting process for presidential aspirants for our party, and I had a good interaction with the committee. As you're all aware, I've been through this exercise on several other occasions, so I'm quite familiar and comfortable with this process. I think the important thing for you is to know that tomorrow I will start my constituency tours in Greater Accra. I have decided that I'll introduce an innovation into my constituency tours by clustering constituencies for the purpose of bringing our party executives together, not just within their own constituencies, but in a few other constituencies in the cluster. That will help energize the rank and file of our party. I mean, it's all about making sure that we work together as a party in our march towards victory 2024. So I hope we can work collaboratively with you on these rounds that will begin tomorrow.
You heard former Trades and Industry Minister Alan Kojo Chermating there. Hansen, before Kojo Poku went to face the committee, you had an interaction with him. What exactly did he tell you?
Well, he's confident. First point that I took from his engagement is that he doesn't expect anybody at all to be disqualified from the process. He's saying that for anybody who has gone to take the forms and submitted same to the vetting committee, that person actually has to meet the credentials and the qualifications to contest as a flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party and essentially to contest as the president hopeful. But he is confident that the committee, regardless if they will have to make any cut to the number, will at the end of the day make sure that he's part of the persons who will be shortlisted for the election. Again, mind you that according to the elections guidelines of the NPP, if the number of candidates after vetting are more than 5, the party at the end of August will have to hold a special delegates conference, which about 900 delegates will cast their ballot, which in essence will whittle down the number to 5. And so we have 10 persons who will be vetted. If all 10 successfully go through the process, then that means that at the end of August, there will be that special delegates conference, and only 5 out of them will be shortlisted. That's the first 5 in that poll will be shortlisted for the main conference in November on November 4 this year, which about 230,000 delegates will take part in. Now, Kojo Poku is very confident that he'll be part of the first set of 5 to be shortlisted for the August conference if it becomes necessary. Again, he's not only confident of being part of the first 5, he's also confident of actually winning the polls in November 4 when the 230,000 delegates of the New Patriotic Party cast their ballot across the country. And so he's high in hopes that he's going to win. When we queried him if he will not abandon his supporters halfway, as we've seen in some of these elections where some people come out to campaign and then getting closer to the election, they end up saying that they won't contest again and throwing their support behind another candidate. He says that will not happen because he will not enter into the election if he doesn't have the assurance of the delegates that he's going to win. According to him, this election is not about personality, but rather about people with a vision, people or a person with a vision and with the right policies to lead the NPP and Ghana after 2024. He makes the point that he is a man for the youth, and the youth in the NPP actually agree with his vision.
Many thanks for that update. Hansen Ajaman is my colleague here in the Citi newsroom. Let's listen to Kojo Poku, who is currently facing the vetting committee.
Well, I hope to make an impression on the vetting committee. If you read what the vetting committee is supposed to do, they are to assess your ability to be fit for president of this nation. 1, 2, to assess your ability to lead the party. So they have to go through and look at the criteria of what somebody who's trying to be president of the nation and also lead the party, if that person fits the criteria, which I think I qualify and I fit more than 100%. So it's not an issue of qualification with will qualify. Anybody who has submitted a form and anybody who picked the form and submitted the form qualifies. It would have to be up to the vetting committee what sort of questions they would ask and seek clarification. But I don't really expect that any of the 10 people that submitted their nomination form will be disqualified by the vetting committee. I am one of the first people that will come through the shortlist. Then from that, the November election, inshallah, I will most definitely win the election.
You're so confident about it. Where is that confidence coming from that you think that you're the one that is going to be elected?
Well, my brother, I would not be in this election if I wasn't confident. In life, you have to have a dream, and with the dream, you have a positive thinking. My positive thinking tells me that I have gone around the country, interacted with chairmen, interacted with polling station executives, interacted with the grassroots of this party, and they've assured me that I am the one that they feel that my message. Look, I've said that this election is not going to be an election of personalities. It's not going to be about who is popular. The party wants somebody who has ideas to change the party, and KMP is the person who has.
You heard New Patriotic Party presidential hopeful Kojo Poku, who is facing the vetting committee today. Alan Chermating has already finished with his vetting, and Dr. Mahmoud Bamia is expected to face the vetting committee after Kojo Poku is done. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, chiefs and people of Nyankrum, Abwesi, and Shamar in the Western region demonstrate over the poor nature of roads in their communities.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant, and she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV?
Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Let's go to the Western region where the chiefs and people of Nyankrum, Abuesi, and Shama in the Shama district there today embarked on a demonstration over the poor state of their roads. The demonstrators blocked the main roads to Nyankrum and Shama, causing heavy vehicular traffic. According to the protesters, authorities have failed to fix their roads, although they host important national installations such as the Abuazi thermal plant. In an interview with City News, the Queen Mother for Nyankrum, Nana Akosua Jemfiaba, said the situation is affecting them negatively.
For almost 8 years now, nothing, absolutely nothing has been done on our roads. They said year of roads, 2020, 2021, 2022. We didn't experience anything. We didn't get anything, not even half a kilometer of road, nothing, absolutely nothing. We are singing our songs. We are singing our song. We are singing our own songs. Now we are singing our own song. If they don't hear and they come and do the needful, they come and do the rightful thing, we'll take another action. Because this demonstration will go on and on and on and on. We are not stopping because we are tired. We are fed up. We are just fed up. Look at our district capital, from Shama Junction to the district capital. Look at the road. So bad, so shameful. Why? When the president comes to Shama, he passes on that road. Regional minister passes. Everybody passes on that road. You go to the district assembly. Why have you neglected us? What have you done? Are we not part of Ghana? Are we not Ghanaians? Are we not giving the Western region? Pregnant women get miscarriages. Why? Why are you also reducing our number? You don't want us to go. Then when it's election time, you want numbers. But you are killing our people. How can you get the numbers?
You heard the Queen Mother for Nyankrum, Nana Akosua Jemfiaba. Akosua Jeanim is our Western Regional Correspondent, and he joins us to tell us more about this demonstration. Akwesi, many thanks for joining us. So earlier, there was a scuffle or some sort of confusion between demonstrators and the police. Tell us about that.
Well, the demonstration actually started on a very calm note, where they even threatened that if their demands are not met, and then in the shortest, within the next week or two, they will be blocking the roads. But it didn't take long after those initial interviews that they granted us before they started blocking the roads actually. So they didn't have to even wait for the 2 weeks. So we saw them blocking the main access road to Nyankrum town. That is from the main Cape Coast to Takoradi branch road to the Nyankrum town, and then the main access road to the district capital, which is Shama. And we have similar blockades in other communities within the district. That is the main access to Abuesi and Abuazi, where we have the thermal plant. And so it became hectic. And it took the police no less than 2 hours to actually clear the way for motorists to actually leave. And in the course of clearing, because there were instances where they managed to open the roads and then they remobilized and block the road. So there was about 2-3 back and forth with opening of the access road and the closure by the demonstrators. And in the course of that, we had one of the demonstrators actually sustaining injury from the handling of some of the police officers. And so around 11 o'clock, they managed to actually get to the district capital, the district assembly office in Shama, where they were hoping to actually petition the district chief executive, Honorable Ebenezer Dazi, or his coordinating director, one Mr. Blevy. But unfortunately, none of them was around. So they finally handed over their petition full of concerns about how the state of the road is affecting them to the deputy coordinating director who actually received it. And so that's also sort of, infuriated them to the extent that they had actually written to the assembly that today they will be coming there with the petition, which was duly received by the district assembly, district chief executive officer. And so they were hoping that he would be there to receive it, or at least his coordinating director would be there to receive it, but none of them were there. And so they felt the assembly simply doesn't care about their plight, else they would have been there. And so that is the disappointment they actually left, with which they left the district assembly. And so for now things are a bit calm, but they've promised to come back within the next few days if they don't really see any action. You know, if you take the Shaman Nyan Krom road, that road takes you to about 4 major companies, and one of them happens to be Marco Polo, which is a toilet WC manufacturing company. That's complete. WC right there in the community in Nyan Krom. It also take the same road will take you to Twyford Ceramics, which is also doing expansion. Twyford also does ceramic tiles, and we have Zeal Environmental Technology, which is a major waste treatment plant that serves the offshore oil and gas activities, all within the enclave. And so it's a very important road. But the surprising thing is that the length of the road from the main Takoradi to Cape Coast Road to the community is just 1.7 kilometers. And that is what surprises them, that it's not been fixed. If it rains, it is very muddy. Cars cannot go. And so there are schools along the stretch, and the students will have to maneuver to actually dodge the muddy portions of the road to actually go to school. And this road, according to the chief, the Queen Mother Nana Jamfiaba, he said that the road was actually given to, in fact, it was under construction as of 2016, according to her. And in fact, we saw some gutters on the shoulders of the road. But according to her, when there was a change of government, the contract was actually suspended, and there was a notice that they are going to audit what went into the contracting, and that was the end of the construction on the road. And so that has been the sentiment of the people of Shama district, not just Nyan Krom, but Shama district, the capital town itself. The road from the main Takoradi Cape Coast road to the town is so poor, and it's that situation when you look at the district, the one road going to Shama and Low Beach, Angona Beach, also very bad. And so this was the situation we had to deal with today in the Shama district.
All right, Akwasi, hold on and let's hold on to the line, and let's hear the Queen Mother of Shama Nyan Krom, Nana Akosua Jamfiaba, after they presented the petition.
We are not surprised that our MP, our DC, our coordinating director, none of them is here. But the kind of torture, the kind of pain they've made us go through, that has pushed us to embark on this demonstration. Had it been that they had come forward to give us information, to let us know that indeed it's in the pipeline, they are working on it, we wouldn't have come this far. We think that it's about time we took the bull by the horn. That is why today we are here. Yes, there were unpleasant scenes between the police and the demonstrators. We were having peaceful demonstration. But when we were coming from Yenukrom to Shama Junction, there was no policeman. But we were able to conduct ourselves properly and well. We were well organized until we go to Shama Junction, when the drivers have decided that no car should move. When we got there, the police allowed some taxi drivers and trotro to move. That infuriated the drivers, and they confronted the police. Why did they allow them to move? Then the tear gas exploded, and then people said they've shot gun, blah blah blah, and that brought the confusion. It's not good, but it is also to protect the police.
That was the Queen Mother of Shama Nyan Krom, Nana Akosua Jamfiaba. Akwasi Ajayanim is still on the line. Akwasi, tell us, the chiefs and people in the Western region, they've been saying that government has not been transparent with certain projects in the region, and there also has not been enough local participation, so they will halt those projects. Tell us about a bit about those concerns.
Well, these days, there's so much push for, participatory democracy. That is, we don't a democracy where the people are also part of the governance of whatever goes on in the country, and so the citizenry is being encouraged to participate in project monitoring and project reporting. And so, in one of those, for us, we had some of the chiefs actually threatening that going forward, when projects are allocated or contracts are awarded. These days when it comes to the assemblies, there are several projects going on that if you go to the assembly, they tell you that we don't have information on it because it was awarded in Accra, and the contractors don't really see the need to be speaking to the details of the contract to the locals. You could have a DC who will tell you, yeah, this project is going to buy, it was not awarded locally, and we don't have briefing on that. And that is what the chiefs feel leads to abandonment of projects, because even the local assemblies don't have information. And so they are saying that when going forward, when they go to project sites and they find out that they cannot even get information on the project as to the timelines for project completion and all that, and the contractor is not really forthcoming with information to the locals, what they will do is that they will mobilize to start a contractor, so that whoever awarded them the contract will then come and give them better particulars on the project, because they have been on the receiving side where several projects have not been completed. If you take, for instance, one of the Agenda 111 projects in Shama, which short-cutting pomp and pageantry with the chiefs all called in there in 2016, or in August 2016, up to date, not even a single room has been constructed. We don't have blocks being laid as foundation. And this is the sentiment, that led to the chiefs to actually give that threat. In fact, it's widespread when it comes to some of these issues in the region.
Many thanks for that update. Akwesi Ajayanim is our Western Regional Correspondent. Charles has some more stories.
Well, let's stay on roads and head to the Eastern region, where the Member of Parliament for New Jovin South, Michael Kofi Otrebefi, says government is on course to finish the asphalting of 35 kilometers of Koforidua town roads within the shortest possible time. The Deputy Minister of Trade and Industries indicated that ancillary roads in the municipality will also see major facelift as contractors who have abandoned sites are set to return to complete their work. In an interview with Citi News on the state of roads in the Eastern Regional Capital, Michael Kofi Otrebefi indicated that a good number of bad roads in the municipality will be fixed before the end of this government's tenure.
We are trying to do this asphalt overlay. We are trying to fix about 35 kilometers of asphalt road in Koforidua, which is on course. I mean, everything will be done to make sure that we'll be able to finish within the shortest possible time. And that is not the only road we are tackling. We are also looking at the ancillary roads. Those auxiliary roads in town, other roads that are also beneficial to the people. We are trying to fix all the roads. Engagement. I had one-on-one engagement with the president last 2 weeks, and he has given me full assurance. Myself and the president. Later on, I also engaged the president with the municipal chief executive and the constituency chairman. And the assurance has been given to us that he will make sure that these roads will be fixed. And so we are counting on his assurance. And also the good news is that last week, the roads minister also gave us assurance that he's going to pay the contractor on the Bugri, Apenkwa Road. So we are sure when those monies are paid, these contractors will also go back to site and they will continue. I'm sure by the end of this year, at least, Koforidua will see some good lights as far as the road network is concerned.
Year of roads.
We will not say that because we have been fixing the roads. It is not that we left it unconcerned, but at least we have put some agency in it. It is something that we are doing. So it's, starting from 2017, that has been one of the priorities of government, and we're on course. So it is not this year alone. It started from 2017, and we're on course. We hope before we exit power, in 2024, or when this government tenure ends, we'll be able to fix a lot of roads in the country, especially in the municipality, New Jovin South municipality.
That was the Member of Parliament for New Jovin South, Michael Kofi Otrebefi.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, Nanumba South District Security Council directs feuding factions in the Luni chieftaincy disputes to cease fire after clashes left residents fleeing the area.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, the Nanumba South District Security Council in the Northern Region has directed feuding factions in the Luni chieftaincy dispute to cease fire. This follows a meeting between the council and the factions. The clashes left residents fleeing the area and the deployment of security personnel to maintain calm. 2 persons were subsequently arrested. Providing an update to City News, the chairman for DISEC, Nanumba South District Security Council, Zakaria Isifu, said the leaders of the various groups have been charged to use appropriate channels to address their concerns.
When they all decided to throw caution to the wind, we walked to the scene of self-destruction. And that happened. So when we brought them, essentially, we made them to understand that they were culpable. They could not absolve themselves from the difficulties they have thrown the district and Lungi specifically into. And all the popular, the negative reasons we have become popular. We told them they were responsible. So we're not giving them chance anymore to hold anybody to ransom, but to tell them that they should use the appropriate channels, the right practice, to seek redress for their chieftaincy matters. But that chieftaincy matters do not lie within the ambit of DISEC. So we're only to facilitate the process and nothing else. So if they go home and they refuse to follow the right channel, using the appropriate structures, they should not blame anybody if anything bad happens to the leadership that we have always engaged in our discussions, expecting them to relate the same information to their followers, to stay calm and be civil in whatever they do. So essentially, that was what we told them. And since then, we have not had any negative development from the area. That has even prompted us to review the number of police presence in the community. But we still have our eyes on the ball, our ears on the ground, to take any intel that might suggest a relapse of the situation. But for now, calm has returned, and those who fled have returned. They have started going about their normal duties, and we can be sure that for now there's no problem.
Zakaria Isifu is the chairman of the Nanumba South District Security Council in the Northern Region. Meanwhile, the 2 persons who were arrested for their alleged involvement in the disturbances have been granted police inquiry bail.
The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is confident of settling its debt to independent power producers, IPPs, by the end of this week to avert any disruptions in electricity supply. Despite government indebtedness to the power generation companies, the ECG and IPPs reached a unique payment agreement, prompting the latter to suspend its plan to cut power supply to the national grid on July 1. The power producers had demanded a 30% interim payment of the arrears, but after their June 30 deadline expired, they agreed to continue supply of power after engagement with ECG. Managing Director of ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, has been speaking to City News.
And whenever someone has given you a deadline or an ultimatum, you know he'll run the whole ultimatum until the last end to see if he can get something better than what's been offered. So it was a very healthy conversation. It's been a very healthy conversation. As much as they decided not to spill out the details because we have a few more things to do together as partners in growth to get to the final line, we have decided that by the end of the week, certain conclusions will have to be reached and certain documents signed, and then the necessary disbursement concerning cash would happen. But let's look at this in this holistic form. The IPPs are our growth partners. We cannot do without them. Yes, to some extent, some of the decisions that we're taking do not benefit the country. Others do. So we are at a point where it's unique, but it's a special time that through all of this adversity, we can turn it all around. Meanwhile, maybe in about 4 to 5 years' time, we will need such installed capacity. So those were all conversations that we needed to make. But the job ECG has to do is in threefold. It has a social component, it has an operational component, and it has a finance component. So within all these three, the only way to go forward is to find a perfect blend between these three. If you leave it solely on finances, you would get it wrong. What we sought to do with these IPPs was to find a perfect mix throughout these three, which we've arrived at something that works for the nation. So we are currently at a point where in the next few weeks, we would agree on something that is feasible, that works, that creates certainty within the sector. Because if I hadn't occupied this chair, I wouldn't have even known that. So nobody factors all of these things end to end. But we need to find a way to make sure that there's a minimum figure that they receive solely based on ECG's operations. And then based on that, we can plan moving forward. Because with a grid impact assessment, after we think we have excess, we don't. Very soon, in about 3 to 4 years' time, all that excess will be gone. And we'll be consuming at 100% on all the power plants. So we cannot afford to lose any of them, but rather we need to give them that level of comfort and that level of respect for them to stay and work with us because they are development partners.
Samuel Dubik Mahama is the managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
Away from the ECG, the Nungwa Traditional Council is expected to lift the ban on drumming and noise-making today, July 3, within areas under its jurisdiction. The council imposed a week-long ban on drumming and noise-making since June 26 as part of activities to mark this year's Plejo Festival. The ban affected areas including Nungwa Township, Spintex, Oyibi, Lashibi, Klagon, and Sakumono, amongst others. Speaking to City News, Chief of Nungwa Asoprochona and member of the Nungwa Festival Committee, Ni Afotek Beche VI, said the ban was respected.
When we talk about tradition is not fetish. Tradition is not fetish. It's part of a group of people and then their tradition. So I will indulge and advise any other religious bodies, being it Muslim or Christian or whoever, or Buddhism, any other group, to observe whatever traditional area is saying, have said. It's just a week. And as I told you about the security, we've spoken with the various divisional police and the district commanders along the Bachona, Kuishin, and then Sakumono areas. So they are aware, and then maybe, they will also assign some of their men to be on the standby in case there's any eventuality they come into. But I'm sure with the exercise that we've guide the recruit guys to go around, I'm sure there wouldn't be any problem. So I've just pleaded they should abide this 1 week observation for us, and we will thank them well as everything comes to the conclusion. It's an annual event. We are in our festive season. That's the Plejo Festival. So when we get to this time of the season, we embark on this particular exercise. That is the ban on drumming for the week.
Ni Afotek Beche VI is Chief of Nungwa Asoprochona and member of Nungwa Festival Committee.
The Commission for Technical and Vocational Training says it will deploy a test serialization system in its upcoming 2023 Certificate 2 examination for technical students slated for 10th July to 4th August. Test serialization is the process of generating different versions of the same questions but with different positions of the test items, options, and keys on the question papers. Speaking at a media briefing, the Director General of the Commission, Dr. Fred J. Asamoah, said the system will reduce issues of cheating and leaking of examination questions.
We want to make sure that our learners in the TVET sector are fully prepared for the job market, because they will have to make decisions that will get to do with the life of all of us. And some of the characteristics of this serialization will be easy to test students with different versions of the same test or the same set of questions. It will allow the same test item to be administered at different examination centers. It will produce consistent and comparable scores and measures the same content and construct within each particular year. It will encourage teachers and learners to do effective teaching and learning in schools before examination. We all know that mostly when it gets to the end of a year, when there's examination, some instructors or learners wait to buy questions from fake websites, from some of them you can hardly describe what they do, forgetting that the person that is writing exam could be the person that will be building his next building. Or that same person will be the one that could be taking part in whatever process during the time of surgery. So we want to make sure that we encourage teaching and learning prior to examination. It's also easy to administer using the same instructions, directions, and duration. It will ensure fairness, test security, and integrity of certificate. It will reduce perennial leakage of examination papers at examination centers. We discourage candidates from relying on appall, scammers, and fake questions from the social media platforms.
That was the Director General of the Commission for Technical and Vocational Training, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says his government is determined to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goal 6, which requires all subscribing countries to ensure access to water and sanitation for all. The president made the remarks at the commissioning of Phase 3 of a water project in the Volta region. The project provides potable water for a population of over 89,000 people from the Adaklu, Agoteme, Ziope, and Central Tong districts. President Akufo-Addo in his address said his government will ensure that the lack of potable water in rural Ghana becomes a thing of the past.
The focus of government is to ensure that all regions across the country are provided with adequate, safe, affordable, and reliable water services. We're also committed to ensuring that we practice safe sanitation and hygiene by the year 2030, in line with the attainment of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our strategic goal is to use a multifaceted approach with emphasis on governance and sector institutional strengthening to accelerate access to equitable water services throughout Ghana. Regarding SDG number 6, which demands that we provide clean water and sanitation for all, the Akufo-Addo government has made significant progress towards this objective. You may recall that in a ceremony at Abejofe in the whole West District, on the same day I cut the soil for commencement of the 5 districts water supply project, I commissioned completed projects under the water supply improvement project of the Ghana-Spain Debt Swap Development, implemented by the Community and Water Sanitation Agency, CWSA, and a total cost of $3,780,000 United States dollars for a beneficiary population of 75,000.
President Akufo-Addo there.
A group identifying itself as the Concerned Citizens of Ajay Kojo has threatened to prevent the Member of Parliament for Tema West, Carlos Ahinkra, from embarking on any political activity in the area, citing the poor state of their roads. The group has further indicated its plan to organize demonstrations should government fail to meet a 14-day ultimatum to make the roads motorable. Speaking at a presser to amplify their concerns, convener for the group, Evans McCarthy, has been highlighting the negative impact of the impassable roads.
The Ajay Kojo Kano to Global Town stretch west, Ajay Kojo to Sun City stretch, and the Sun City to Global stretch west, and then Global to Solomon City stretch. Bad. And other Ajay Kojo Township roads. We therefore plead with the government and the municipal assembly not to trivialize this issue and to start work on these above-mentioned roads as quickly as possible. However, failure to heed to our request will mean that they are inviting us to hit the streets in the name of demonstrations 14 days in order to drum home our grievances. Finally, we the concerned citizens in this community have also resolved not to allow any politician, especially the Member of Parliament for Tema West constituency, Honorable Carlos Ahinkra, to come to Ajay Kojo and its adjoining communities for any political activity. In this upcoming, in case they turn deaf ears to our plea, we have no option than to hit the road with a demonstration.
Evans McCarthy is the convener for the Concerned Citizens of Ajay Kojo.
A Ghanaian social marketing organization, Total Family Health, has announced that it will launch an affordable menstrual hygiene pad for women in September as an alternative for the rising cost of sanitary pads in the country. The organization said it will deploy more community workforce to distribute the packs in deprived areas when launched. According to the NGO, the initiative will seek to complement the government's efforts in dealing with the high cost of sanitary pads, which has been greeted with criticisms. Speaking during the 5th anniversary celebration of the NGO, the executive director for Total Family Health, Joseph Ado Yobo, highlighted the success story chalked in the last 5 years.
As an organization, structure-wise, we have grown. We've increased from a staff strength of 20 to 70 plus as we speak over the 5-year period. Also, as a social marketing organization, our ability to put out products that would help people adopt the desired positive health behaviors is very critical. We started off with 5 products, and to the glory of God, to the commitment of all staff and partners and stakeholders, we now have a total of 14 products in our portfolio. And this is contributing greatly to impacting and improving the health of Ghanaians in diverse ways. I will start off by talking about maybe HIV and unintended pregnancies. For HIV and unintended pregnancies, we thank you for your support as media, but last year in October, we launched Ebony Condoms.
You heard the executive director for Total Family Health Organization, Joseph Ado Yobo. This is still the Citi Prime News stories we've brought you so far. The Court of Appeal overturns an earlier High Court decision to start opening trial from scratch. We also brought you the story where chiefs and people of Nyankrum, Abuesi, and Shama in the Western region demonstrated over the poor nature of roads in their communities. We also brought you the New Patriotic Party beginning vetting of presidential aspirants seeking to lead the party into the 2024 general elections. Alan Kojo had finished as at the time we spoke to my colleague Hansen Ajiman, and Kojopoku was in the vetting. Also, we brought you a story where the Nanumba South District Security Council has directed feuding factions in the Luni chieftaincy dispute to cease fire after clashes left residents fleeing the area. The news was live across our partner stations in the Western region. We were live on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade. We were also live on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. If you're in the Ashanti region, you're listening to us live on Adrimpa 99.9 FM in Nkarie. In the Volta region, we're live on Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi. In Sogakope, we're live on Freedom 88.1 FM. In the Northern region, you're listening to us on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba. In the Upper East, we're live on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. In the Northeast region, we're live on Nobia 98.1 FM in Nalarigu. The news is also live across the globe on citynewsroom.com, City 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. My name is Inosafo, and this afternoon I was here with
Charles Owusu-Kumi.
For more news, do log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. Up next is the afternoon's edition of the City Business News. Many thanks for tuning in. Do enjoy your day.